Well, good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
What a great turnout. This is wonderful. We won't mention the fire marshal. Thank you all for being here this morning, and thank you to our distinguished guests and elected officials. Would all the elected officials please stand up to be recognized? I would also like to make a very special recognition, Mr. Jackson. It is a special privilege to have you here with us today. Thank you, sir. So this morning, I spoke at our annual Mayor's Prayer Breakfast. And later this afternoon, I will be speaking at USF St. Pete about resilience, faith and resilience. Two things Mr. Jackson and 11 of his fellow officers exhibited when they filed a lawsuit against the city of St. Petersburg in 1965 for the right to patrol neighborhoods other than black ones, and for the right to arrest white citizens. 3 years later, they prevailed, making our city, our state, and our nation better and fairer places to live and to work. Now, some may assume that this was simply one of many civil rights developments that occurred in the 1960s. And while the actions of the Courageous 12 followed the passage of the Civil Rights Act, let's put what they did and when they did it into perspective. Their suit came 2 years before our local newspaper, the St. Petersburg Times, ended publication of the Negro news pages. 3 years before our own sanitation strike here in St. Pete, 6 years before court-ordered busing formally ended segregation of our schools. What they did and when they did it was not easy. It was, in a word, courageous. Their stories have been told. Their legacies have been honored in ways big and small, but never has the city of St. Petersburg and the St. Petersburg Police Department permanently and properly displayed the faces and names and told the story of these daring men. Today we do that. And we look forward to seeing even more done. I am encouraged by the recent developments to erect a monument in the community. And I applaud Councilmember Lisa Wheeler-Bowman for her leadership. And I thank the Public Arts Commission for recognizing why this is so important and for kickstarting the fundraising for that effort with a $100,000 allocation. And the very next thing that I look forward to is introducing my friend, the best police chief on the planet, Anthony Holloway. Chief?
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. What a great honor it's for us to be here today to recognize Mr. Jackson and the other 11 courageous men from the St. Pete Police Department. I'd like to thank the mayor, the deputy mayor, state officials, city officials, local, and most important, if I could have the family members please stand so you can be recognized. We in law enforcement, we always forget the backbone, and you are the backbone. So you were there for those 12 courageous men. So how does this affect St. Pete Police Department? So let me tell you a little bit of history about this. So when I came on 5 years ago, I had no knowledge of the Courageous 12. Chief Williams came to my office and said, "Chief, do you know anything about the Courageous 12?" I said, "No, I don't. I'm sorry." So he took me down to the lobby, and I read the article. And then, 2 years later, Mr. Jackson, Mr. Crawford came to my office, and they sat down, and they told me the story, what they had to do, and you heard from the mayor, how they had to fight to make sure that we, minorities, in this police department had the right to do anything else we did in this police department. When we had that conversation, they said, when you move into that new building, how are you going to make sure that the history follows them there? And we said, we're going to take care of that. And I went back and I spoke to the mayor. And the mayor says, let's do it. And today you're going to see that plaque to honor you and those 11 other courageous men that helped us. Mr. Jackson, because of your efforts and the other 11, one of the main reasons why I stand here is because of the efforts that you guys done. If you look at this police department, there are officers that work in every division, every level of management, and this department represents this community. You can find a minority in every division, every rank of management, whether sworn or non-sworn. So thank you for that. So the question that you asked us, how are we going to make sure that this history is passed on? Well, we've done two things. First thing we've done is we placed a plaque in our lobby that we're going to unveil here in a few minutes. And that plaque's going to represent anytime someone walks into this police department, they're going to read the history, they're going to see the faces, and they're going to understand what these 12 courageous men did for this police department. So thank you. The next part is we want to make sure that history is carried on. So what my staff and I came up with is anyone that takes the lieutenant exam shall, hear what I'm saying, shall read the court ruling from the Courageous 12 so they can pass it on to the department. So, Mr. Jackson, on behalf of the men and women of the St. Pete Police Department and the mayor and the city employees, we'd like to present you with this plaque. Mr. Jackson, would like to say a few words. Not that easy.
Yeah, no problem. First of all, my name is Leon Jackson. I'm one of the Courageous 12. Sadly, I'm the last surviving member of the Courageous 12. I want to thank the city of St. Petersburg as well as the police department for honoring the Courageous 12. How we got here? During the time that I first came on the police department, African-American police officers could not work at the front desk. We were never assigned any desk jobs inside the police station. We were always assigned to work in the so-called colored neighborhood of the city only. We could not investigate complaints from white citizens. We could not arrest whites during that time. Promotion was non-existent for African-American police officers. We could not take the sergeant exam for promotion. There were one African-American sergeant, and his authority was limited. He could only supervise the African-American police officer. He could not supervise the white police officer. The white sergeants had unlimited authority. They could supervise all the police department, all police officers. This lawsuit was filed on May 11, 1965. 1965, like I stated on the interview, that's the same year the Selma to Montgomery March took place. The appeal court ruled in our favor on August 1st, 1968. That's the same year that Dr. Martin Luther King was assassinated. During that time, we African-American police officers were fighting racism here in the St. Petersburg Police Department. And I tell you, what we went through with for filing that lawsuit, I would never wish that to anyone. That lawsuit paved the way not only for St. Petersburg police officers, African-American police officers, but it paved the way for African-American in law enforcement in the entire nation. We were the Jackie Robinson of police integration. We were the new frontier in law enforcement. We stood our ground and we did not back down. We could have easily given up when the chief refused to meet with us after 2 meetings, but we kept going. We could have easily given up when the Judge Joseph P. Lee in federal court ruled against us. We could have given up. We could have given up when our attorney James Sandlin told us that we could file the appeal, and we told him that we did not have any more money for the appeal. And note, we paid for the original lawsuit out of our own pocket. No club, no organization, no group assisted us in financing the original lawsuit. That's how dedicated we were for this lawsuit. And I'm 79 and I've gotten old now. And I would like for everybody in this city to start taking this lawsuit seriously. Because when I'm gone, nobody else would know what really happened. See? And I just want to thank the city and the police department for honoring the Courageous 12. And I love you guys. I love you. I kind of love your city. I love everybody in this city. So thanks a million for everything you did for us.
Now, if everyone please join us in the lobby so Mr. Jackson can unveil our plaque. As you heard inside there, you heard a great story from Mr. Jackson. And we want to make sure that when people enter our lobby now, we want to recognize the doors that you walk through are the doors that these Courageous 12 open for minorities here in the St. Petersburg Police Department. Mr. Jackson, give me the honor, sir. Our maintenance people do good work.
There we go.
In 1965, I never dreamed this would happen. I didn't realize that we were making history when we filed that lawsuit. And thank you again for everything you, the police department, and the city of St. Petersburg did for the Courageous 12.
Thank you.